in the quiet depths of space. Earth seemed calm. But beneath this calm, something unusual was stirring. In a small research facility on the outskirts of New York, Dr. Elena Ramirez stared at the blinking screen in disbelief. The monitors were showing strange energy signals coming from beyond the solar system. No pattern, no warning, just pulses of pure energy traveling at impossible speeds. "Are these real?" she whispered to herself, her voice trembling slightly. Her assistant, a young physicist named Leo, leaned over her shoulder. "They are, Dr. Ramirez," he said, "and they are not normal. Nothing in our records looks like this." The signals were subtle at first, barely detectable above the noise of the universe. But over the past week, they had grown stronger, more frequent, and more structured. The research team worked around the clock, trying to decode what they were seeing. Every attempt to understand energy waves led to more questions. The pattern seemed deliberate, almost intelligent. By the third day, the team had realized that the signals were not random. They were a message, not a language they could understand, but a warning. One night, as the lights in the lab flickered from the storm outside, the computer finally displayed something new. "Earth is off limits. All life forms retreat." Dr. Ramirez froze. Her heart raced. "Retreat?" she said aloud. "Retreat from what?" No one knew. The message was clear, but the meaning was terrifyingly vague. And it wasn't just the message itself. The energy around it seemed to pulse in response, like the universe itself was warning them. Leo tapped his fingers nervously on the desk. "It's like someone is watching, or waiting." Outside the lab, satellites began malfunctioning. Communications with distant space probes flickered and broke. Even the International Space Station reported strange readings in orbit. The signals from deep space were affecting Earth's technology. Panic quietly began to creep in among the scientists. The research team debated what to do. Should they alert the government? Should they try to contact the source? Every option seemed risky. But before any decision could be made, the signals intensified. A new transmission appeared, repeating the warning in a loop. This time, there was something different. A countdown. "Leo, look at this," Dr. Ramirez said, pointing at the monitor. The numbers flashed across the screen. 72 hours. The room went silent. Every scientist stared at the countdown, understanding the gravity of the situation without words. Something was coming, and Earth had very little time. As the hours passed, the tension grew. News channels began reporting unusual anomalies in space. Unexplained energy bursts, mysterious shadows in the outer solar system, and strange gravitational readings. People at first dismissed it as natural phenomena, but the scientists knew better. This was deliberate. This was intelligent. Meanwhile, in the lab, the team worked tirelessly to understand the message. They tried translating it with every known language, algorithm, and AI system. Nothing made sense. And yet, the warning's tone was unmistakable. Leave or face consequences. Dr. Ramirez remembered the old stories of humanity's first encounters with the unknown. Tales of explorers who vanished in deep space. Civilizations lost to cosmic disasters. She had always believed humanity was strong, capable of reaching the stars. But now, she felt the fragile weight of her species' place in the universe. Late one night, as the countdown ticked closer to zero, a strange image appeared on the monitor. It was a holographic projection, shimmering and fragile, almost like a ghost. It showed a massive structure in space, towers, bridges, and strange shapes that defied human engineering. A colossal fleet seemed to orbit the structure, scanning, observing, guarding. A title appeared beneath the image, the Galactic Empire, off-limit zone. The words sank in slowly, chilling every person in the room. A civilization far beyond human comprehension had declared Earth forbidden, not for exploration, not for diplomacy, but as a zone to be watched and perhaps punished if crossed. The countdown reached 24 hours, and the lab was tense. The scientists knew they had no weapons, no power, no means to negotiate. Humanity had never faced such a threat, and yet, in the fear and uncertainty, something remarkable happened. Dr. Ramirez looked around at her team, exhausted, scared, but still determined. "We don't know what's coming," she said softly, "but we have to understand it. We have to be ready." As the screen pulsed with a final warning, the lights in the lab flickered again. A shadow passed over the facility. No one could explain it, but every person in the room felt it. They were being watched. The universe, vast and infinite, had sent a message, and Earth had only 12 hours left to respond. Outside, the world slept, unaware of the looming presence. But above the clouds, in the dark reaches of space, the Galactic Empire's gaze had already fallen on Earth. The final warning had been sent, and the countdown had begun. The discovery was only the beginning. The real challenge, surviving the consequences, had yet to arrive. The energy waves continued to pulse, growing stronger each hour. Dr. Elena Ramirez and her team worked tirelessly, but there was only so much a small research lab could do. Humanity had to see the source. They had to know what was watching. A joint decision was made by Earth space agencies. A small, advanced exploratory ship, the Aurora, would follow the signal into the outer solar system. Its crew was carefully chosen, a mix of scientists, engineers, and ex-military personnel. Dr. Ramirez was part of the team, determined to witness the unknown firsthand. The Aurora launched quietly, slipping past Earth orbit, leaving behind a world unaware of what it faced. The journey toward the source was tense. Every sensor on the ship picked up strange energy fluctuations. The stars seemed to shimmer differently near the signal, as if reality itself bent under the weight of something vast and powerful. After days of travel, the Aurora reached the outer limits of Jupiter's orbit. There, drifting silently in the black void, was an enormous outpost. It was unlike anything humans had ever seen, massive towers of metal and light, glowing with strange energy, yet eerily abandoned. The ship's crew stared in awe. This is not human," whispered Leo, scanning the alien architecture. "No design, no logic, we know." Dr. Ramirez felt a chill run down her spine. The structures were immense, yet there were no signs of life. But the air around them vibrated with power, subtle but undeniable. The ship's instruments began to fail intermittently, as if the outpost itself rejected human technology. The crew moved cautiously closer. As the Aurora docked with the outpost, a strange holographic projection activated. Blue light filled the observation deck, forming a figure unlike any human. Tall, glowing, and impossible to describe. It spoke in a language they could not understand, but the tone was clear, authoritative, warning, absolute. Then the message appeared in symbols that could be translated. "This zone is under protection of the Galactic Empire. All intruders will be destroyed. Leave immediately." The crew exchanged nervous glances. The Galactic Empire, a name they had never fully understood, now made terrifyingly real. Humanity was small, fragile, and unarmed compared to this vast civilization. As the Aurora explored further, they discovered remnants of ships, destroyed vessels from countless species, their remains frozen in time, floating silently in orbit. It became clear that the Empire did not tolerate trespassers. They enforced their rules mercilessly. The tension aboard the Aurora was palpable. Every creak of the hull, every flicker of the lights, seemed louder, sharper. The crew debated their next move. Should they investigate further, risking their lives, or retreat immediately, leaving the mystery unsolved? Dr. Ramirez's gaze lingered on a massive energy barrier surrounding the outpost. It shimmered like a liquid mirror, constantly shifting, impenetrable to their scanners. The warning was no bluff. This was a fortress, and humanity, small and fragile, was at its mercy. Suddenly, the Aurora's sensors detected movement, something vast, moving with purpose beyond the outpost. Shadows, massive and fast, crossed the empty space. The crew held their breath. It was as if the Empire itself was aware of their presence, observing silently, waiting. Then, without warning, a signal blasted through the ship's communication systems. It was brief, fragmented, but terrifyingly clear. "Leave, or be destroyed." The words echoed in the minds of every crew member. They had reached the edge of human understanding, staring into the abyss of a civilization far beyond them. And yet, in the midst of fear, there was awe. Humanity had glimpsed the impossible. Dr. Ramirez turned to her team. We need to document everything, but we must be careful. One wrong move, one signal misread, and we may not make it back. The crew continued their survey, mapping the outpost, recording data, and trying to decipher its secrets. But as they worked, a subtle vibration began in the hull. Energy pulses from the Empire's defenses, warning them, reminding them of their fragility. Hours passed. Tension built. The Aurora had to decide. Return to Earth with the knowledge they had gathered, or push further into the unknown, risking the wrath of a civilization that treated lesser species with absolute authority. And then the final warning came, not through signals, but through sight. Across the void beyond the outpost appeared the first glimpses of the Empire's fleet. Ships larger than cities, engines glowing with deadly power, formations perfect and unyielding. They did not attack, yet their presence alone carried a message. We are here. We watch. Any defiance will end in annihilation. The crew's hearts pounded. Humanity was nothing against this might. And yet, for the first time, they understood something vital. The Empire respected intelligence, strategy, and courage. Perhaps, just perhaps, humans might survive if they could prove their worth. Dr. Ramirez recorded her final message before they returned. The Galactic Empire is real. Earth is observed. We are small, but we are alive. And we must be clever to survive. As the Aurora turned toward home, the shadows of the Empire's fleet receded, but the tension remained. Humanity had taken its first step into a galaxy ruled by powers it barely understood. And the real challenge, the test of courage, wit, and survival, was only beginning. Back on Earth, life seemed normal, but the scientists knew better. The warning from the Galactic Empire had not been ignored. It lingered in every mind at the research facility. Humanity was being watched, and the threat was real. Meanwhile, the Aurora continued its journey through the outer solar system. Dr. Elena Ramirez and her crew could feel the tension mounting. The energy pulses from the Empire's outpost grew stronger, creating interference that made navigation difficult. Every sensor was on high alert, but still, some readings didn't make sense. Shadows moved where no objects existed. Energy spikes appeared out of nowhere. Something is out there, Leo said, voice tense. Something is watching us. Dr. Ramirez didn't reply immediately. She studied the readings, the flickering lights, the strange anomalies around them. Then she realized these weren't just random. The Empire had left traces, like breadcrumbs, to test intruders. Each signal, each shadow, was a warning, a trap, or both. The crew continued cautiously, scanning derelict ships scattered across the void. Many were humanoid, but some were entirely alien, their shapes and technologies far beyond human understanding. Some ships were cracked open, their interiors frozen in silence, as if the crews had vanished in an instant. Leo shivered. All these civilizations gone, and were small, fragile, unarmed. Dr. Ramirez nodded grimly. That's why we must be careful. We can learn, but we cannot provoke them. As the Aurora moved deeper into the zone, communication systems began failing intermittently. Crew members whispered about voices and static, fleeting shapes in the shadows outside the hull. One night, as the ship passed a dark asteroid field, the sensors went blank. Then a sudden alarm rang. One of the crew members, Navigator Ilya, was missing. Panic erupted. The crew searched every section of the ship. No trace of Ilya was found, except for a strange, glowing residue near the observation deck. It pulsed with energy, like something alive and dangerous. The crew realized that whatever had taken Ilya was linked to the Empire's defenses, or perhaps the remnants of civilizations that had been destroyed. The mystery deepened. Shadows seemed to follow the ship, but they were not physical objects. They were energy forms, difficult to describe, moving with intelligence. Every move the Aurora made, the shadows mirrored or anticipated. The crew understood a chilling truth. The Empire Zone was alive, in a way humans had never encountered. It could sense, react, and perhaps punish. Dr. Ramirez gathered her team. We have to stay focused. Our mission isn't just exploration anymore, it's survival. Every step we take, every signal we read, could trigger something dangerous. Despite fear, the crew pressed on. They discovered a massive alien archive hidden inside a derelict station. Data streams, holographic recordings, and alien writings told stories of countless civilizations. Some had been advanced and peaceful, others aggressive and warlike. All had vanished after entering the zone. It was clear. The Empire did not tolerate ignorance or disobedience. The tension reached its peak when a massive shadow appeared in the distance. Not a ship, but something enormous, almost organic, moving through space with purpose. The Aurora's sensors barely registered it before it vanished, leaving only a spike of energy behind. The crew realized it had been watching them, testing them, perhaps judging humanity's intentions. Leo whispered, his voice shaking. "We're not ready for this. None of us are." Dr. Ramirez clenched her fists. Fear gripped her heart, but determination burned brighter. Humanity may be small, but humans were clever. They had survived impossible odds before. And now, their survival depended on intellect, courage, and unity. Suddenly, a warning signal erupted across the ship. A holographic message appeared, directly from the Galactic Empire. "Leave the zone. Any intrusion beyond this point will be destroyed without exception. Observe, but do not interfere. Your species is under surveillance. One misstep will end your existence." The words hit the crew like a physical blow. They had seen the Empire's power, its reach, and its merciless control. One mistake, and humanity would vanish, like the civilizations before them. The Aurora turned back toward Earth, carrying the knowledge and the warning. The crew had glimpsed the true danger hidden within the Empire's territory, an invisible, intelligent force, capable of ending entire worlds without hesitation. But among the fear and tension, a spark remained. Humanity had survived this far. They had observed, recorded, and learned, and the crew realized something important. Intelligence and courage mattered. The Empire may be vast and powerful, but humans had a chance, if they were clever, resourceful, and united. As they approached the inner solar system, Earth's blue glow filled the viewport. The planet seemed peaceful, unaware of the hidden threat lurking beyond Jupiter. But Dr. Ramirez knew better. Humanity had only scratched the surface of the Empire's power. The shadows of hidden threats still lingered, waiting, watching, and testing every step. The crew's journey had changed them. They were no longer just explorers. They were witnesses to the vastness and danger of the galaxy, and they carried with them a message that Earth must hear. The universe was larger, stranger, and far more dangerous than anyone had ever imagined. The real challenge had only begun. Humanity's ingenuity and courage would soon be tested in ways they could not yet comprehend. Back on Earth, the world had no idea what was coming. To most people, life continued as usual: traffic, work, school, and routine. But in hidden government facilities and research labs, the atmosphere was tense. The data sent back by the Aurora had arrived, and the implications were terrifying. Dr. Elena Ramirez briefed world leaders via a secure channel. "The Galactic Empire is real," she said. "Earth is under observation. They have declared our planet off limits. Their fleets are powerful. If we cross their boundaries, they will not hesitate to destroy us." The leaders exchanged uneasy glances. For decades, humanity had looked to the stars with wonder, but now that same wonder brought fear. Military advisors debated possible responses. Should they hide, evacuate, or attempt communication? Every option seemed both impossible and dangerous. Meanwhile, satellites and space stations reported strange phenomena. Energy pulses disrupted communications. Instruments malfunctioned in patterns that defied explanation. Even deep space probes, far beyond Pluto, were affected. The message was clear. The Empire's presence was already influencing Earth, even from the distant reaches of the solar system. News channels started receiving reports of unexplained flashes and odd gravitational anomalies in the sky. People began speculating. Meteors? Secret experiments? Comets? No one suspected the truth. Humanity's first real warning had arrived, and few were aware. In the research facility, Dr. Ramirez and her team analyzed the data further. "They're not attacking yet," she said, her voice calm but tense. "They're enforcing their rules, testing our reactions. But this is a warning. And warnings from the Empire are not empty. Suddenly, global alerts rang through secure networks. A massive energy surge had been detected near Jupiter's orbit. The Empire's fleet was moving closer. Sensors indicated that Earth was under direct observation. Every transmission, every action, every attempt to probe space was being monitored. Panic spread among the world's leaders. The idea of a powerful civilization watching Earth, judging every move, was almost impossible to grasp. Some factions call for evacuation plans. Others argue for defensive preparations. Yet no military, no weapon, no strategy could truly match the Empire's power. The media began reporting strange signals picked up by amateur astronomers. Flashes, pulsing lights, an unidentified object appearing and disappearing in the sky. Fear began to ripple through the population. For the first time, the idea that humanity was not alone became terrifyingly real. Dr. Ramirez continued her work, analyzing the Empire's transmissions. She realized that the warning had a deeper purpose. The Empire did not want immediate destruction. They wanted compliance, observation, and testing. Earth had been given a choice, whether it realized it or not. Meanwhile, the Aurora, returning from the outer solar system, transmitted detailed images of the Empire's fleet. Massive ships, larger than cities, moved with perfect coordination. The designs were incomprehensible, alien yet purposeful. It was a demonstration of power and precision. Earth's vulnerability laid bare. The countdown from the initial warning continued. Humanity had precious hours to understand what was happening, to prepare, and perhaps to respond. But the challenge was overwhelming. Every move was scrutinized. Every decision could mean survival or total annihilation. At night, people across the globe noticed strange lights flickering in the sky. Some reported seeing ships that moved unnaturally fast, disappearing before their eyes. UFO enthusiasts and scientists alike were baffled. No one realized the scale of what they were witnessing. The Empire's silent watch, a test of humanity's readiness and intelligence. In the command center, Dr. Ramirez and Leo monitored the fleet's movements. "They're not attacking, but they're sending a message," Leo said. "They want to see how we react. Every step, every signal, every observation matters." Dr. Ramirez nodded, her mind racing. "We have to stay calm. We have to analyze, record, and learn. Panic will only make us vulnerable." The first night of observation ended with a clear realization. Humanity was not prepared for the vastness and power of the galaxy. Yet, the scientists felt a spark of hope. The Empire respected intelligence, strategy, and creativity. Humans, though small and fragile, had the potential to survive if they used their minds wisely. But the warning could not be ignored. A final message flashed across Earth's secure networks, intercepted from the Empire's distant fleet. "Comply, observe, and learn. Do not interfere. Failure to obey will result in immediate destruction. This is your first and final warning." The word spread fear through the highest offices of Earth. Governments realized that diplomacy, defense, and technology alone would not be enough. Survival depended on cleverness, unity, and understanding the unknown. Humanity had been placed under observation, and the stakes were higher than ever before. As dawn broke over cities and oceans, people went about their day, unaware of the silent watchers above. But in research labs and command centers, the reality was clear. Earth had received its first true warning from the galaxy, and humanity's future hung in the balance. The clock was ticking. Every choice mattered. Every decision could tip the scales toward survival or extinction. Humanity had been awakened to a threat greater than any it had ever known, and the real test was about to begin. The warning from the Galactic Empire had reached every corner of Earth's scientific and military communities. Fear and tension gripped leaders, scientists, and civilians alike. Humanity had been given a choice: observe and comply, or risk annihilation. But the decision was not simple. In the secure command center beneath the Earth's surface, world leaders gathered with Dr. Elena Ramirez and her team. Maps, holograms, and live feeds from the Aurora filled the room. The Empire's fleet was in orbit beyond Jupiter, observing, silent but powerful. Their presence was a constant reminder. One misstep could mean the end of civilization. "Do we comply?" asked General Nakamura, his voice sharp and anxious. "Do we just hide and hope they leave us alone?" "No," Dr. Ramirez replied firmly. "We can't ignore this. Humanity has survived impossible odds before, but we must be smart. Every move must be calculated. We cannot provoke them, yet we cannot remain blind. Some factions argue for a bold approach. Use the alien technology discovered by the Aurora to defend Earth. Attempt to communicate with the Empire. Maybe even challenge them. But the risk was unimaginable. A fleet capable of destroying planets waited quietly in the shadows. One wrong decision would bring instant destruction. Meanwhile, Dr. Ramirez and her team studied the alien archives brought back from the Aurora. Ancient schematics, energy reading, and holographic logs revealed a startling truth. The Empire valued intelligence, creativity, and strategy. Species that were clever and resourceful could survive, even thrive under their observation. Leo leaned over the holographic table. "So they're testing us, not just threatening, but seeing if we're smart enough to survive." "Exactly," Dr. Ramirez said. "And that means every action we take matters. Every signal we send, every choice we make, they will notice. We must decide carefully." As the debates continued, the countdown from the Empire's first warning loomed in the back of everyone's mind. Hours passed. Humanity's patience and intellect were being tested. The world's leaders were torn. Evacuate and hide? Fight and risk extinction? Or find a clever solution that might earn the Empire's cautious respect? The Aurora returned from the outer solar system, carrying not only data but a subtle warning. Its crew had witnessed the Empire's hidden defenses, energy barriers, automated patrols, and shadowy observers capable of erasing intruders without hesitation. They had survived, but only barely, through caution, intelligence, and teamwork. Dr. Ramirez presented her proposal, a two-part plan. First, maintain strict observation of the Empire's fleet, recording every movement, every energy pulse. Second, use the alien technology to create a signal, a demonstration of intelligence and ingenuity, not aggression. Something that shows humanity is capable, clever, and worth observing, but not defiant. Some leaders resisted. What did they see as a threat? One diplomat asked nervously. Dr. Ramirez shook her head. "We're not attacking. We're proving we can think, adapt, and survive. That's all the Empire values. This is our chance to survive the test." The decision was made. The world mobilized in secret. Scientists and engineers worked day and night to create a signal, a pattern so complex and intelligent that it could not be ignored, yet contained no aggression. Every algorithm, every pulse, every holographic display was carefully designed to demonstrate human creativity, strategy, and potential. Meanwhile, the Empire's fleet remained in orbit, watching silently. Every move Earth made was detected. Every hesitation was noted. Humanity's fate hung by a thread. As the signal neared completion, the debate grew more intense. Could humans really survive contact with civilization so vast and powerful? One mistake, one miscalculation, and it would all be over. Finally, the moment came. Dr. Ramirez and the Aurora's crew coordinated the transmission. The signal pulsed into space, a brilliant display of intelligence and creativity. It was a message not of fear, not of aggression, but of ingenuity. It reached the distant eyes of the Empire, demonstrating that humanity, though small and fragile, was capable of understanding, adapting, and surviving. For hours, the world waited. Silence filled the command centers and research labs. Then, faintly at first, a response came. Not words, but a shift in the Empire's energy field. The fleet did not attack. The energy barriers relaxed slightly. The shadows receded. Humanity had passed the first test. Dr. Ramirez exhaled slowly, relief and awe mixing in her heart. Humanity had survived the most dangerous decision it had ever faced. But she knew the real challenges were only beginning. The Empire had acknowledged their intelligence, but it was clear this was only the first step. Survival would require constant vigilance, courage, and cleverness. As Earth breathed a cautious sigh of relief, Dr. Ramirez looked at her team. "We've made it through this decision," she said quietly. "But the galaxy is watching. And the next test will be even harder. The world had chosen wisely, for now, but humanity's ingenuity, courage, and unity would soon be tested in ways they could never imagine. The real challenge, the ultimate test of survival in a universe ruled by unimaginable power, was just beginning. The signal had been sent. Humanity had taken its first careful step into the galaxy. For the first time, the Empire's vast fleet had paused, observed, and acknowledged Earth's ingenuity. But this pause was not mercy. It was a test, a measure of human potential. In the research labs, Dr. Elena Ramirez and her team studied the reactions. The alien energy field surrounding Earth shifted subtly, as if adjusting to the signal. Satellites reported changes in the interference patterns. Even deep space instruments showed that the Empire's watch was not idle. It was calculating, analyzing, learning. The Empire respects intelligence, Dr. Ramirez said quietly. They do not strike blindly. They evaluate, they observe, and they respond to cleverness. We have shown them we are clever for now. On the Aurora, Leo and the rest of the crew monitored the distant fleet. Ships moved with precision, yet there was no attack. Instead, they observed, maintaining distance, almost like a teacher watching a student attempt a difficult task. Humanity had passed the first test, but the shadow of danger remained. Back on Earth, the political and scientific communities realized a subtle shift. The fear had not disappeared, but a sense of cautious pride began to emerge. Humans had survived a situation that could have destroyed them. They had used intelligence, creativity, and cooperation, traits that the Empire valued. In the outer solar system, the Empire's fleet began a slow withdrawal, but the warning remained. A transmission reached Earth's secure channels, simple but chilling. Your species is clever. Continue to learn. Disobedience or recklessness will result in annihilation. We observe. The next test may be closer than you expect. Dr. Ramirez gathered her team. This is our chance, she said. We have proven our potential. We survived because we were clever and careful. But this is only the beginning. Humanity must be ready for anything. The HFY moment became clear. Humans were small and fragile in comparison to the galaxy's power, yet they had survived not through strength, but through creativity, intelligence, and courage. These traits were uniquely human, the qualities that allowed them to endure where others had failed. Governments quietly mobilized research efforts. The Aurora's discoveries were studied in detail. Alien technology, once incomprehensible, was being understood piece by piece. Humans realized that survival in this new cosmic order would require cooperation, ingenuity, and strategic thinking. The galaxy was vast, but humanity had the mind to navigate it. Meanwhile, everyday life on Earth resumed, but people began to sense the invisible presence watching from beyond the stars. Strange phenomena continued. Energy surges, unusual signals, and glimpses of distant ships, but fear was now mixed with awe. Humanity had glimpsed the true scale of the universe and had survived its first real encounter with power far beyond their own. In the shadows of the Empire's fleet, analysts observed humanity quietly. They had noticed the species' unique qualities: resilience, ingenuity, and the ability to adapt under pressure. These were qualities not often found in the galaxy, and the Empire recognized potential in Earth. Yet, the final judgment was not complete. The fleet maintained observation, watching humanity's next moves carefully. On the Aurora, Leo looked at the stars and spoke softly. We're small, fragile, but maybe we belong here. Maybe we can survive out there. Dr. Ramirez nodded. We passed the first test. The Empire may be far stronger, but humans are clever. That's our greatest weapon. As days turned into weeks, humanity began to explore cautiously. Deep space missions were planned with intelligence and strategy in mind. Scientists developed communication protocols and observation tools to study the Empire without provoking them. Every decision was deliberate. Every discovery was measured. Yet the Empire's final warning lingered. Next time, no mercy. The message reminded humanity that survival required constant vigilance. Cleverness alone would not guarantee safety. Wisdom, restraint, and courage were equally essential. And so, humanity stepped into a new era. They were small, fragile, and vulnerable, but also brilliant, resilient, and brave. The first real HFY moment had arrived. Against unimaginable power, humans had survived through intelligence and creativity. Dr. Ramirez looked at the stars one last time that evening. The fleet had receded. The immediate danger had passed, but the galaxy had changed forever. Humanity had been tested and had shown its potential. The future was uncertain, but for the first time, they knew they could face it. Above Earth, the stars twinkled silently. Somewhere, far away, the Empire continued its observation. Humanity had survived, but the real journey, the long path of survival, growth, and recognition in a galaxy full of power and danger, was just beginning. The consequences of the first contact were clear. Humans had proven they could endure, but the universe was vast, and the Empire's gaze never left them. The next challenge was coming, and Earth would need to be ready. Earth had survived the first warning. Humanity had faced a threat beyond imagination and lived, but the world had changed forever. Governments, scientists, and civilians alike understood a simple truth. The galaxy was vast, powerful, and watching. Every decision from now on mattered. Dr. Elena Ramirez stood on a cliff overlooking the ocean, her eyes scanning the horizon as though she could see the stars beyond the sky. The Empire's fleet had retreated, for now, leaving Earth with a silent promise. Next time, no mercy. Back in the command centers, humanity quietly began its new approach to space exploration. The Aurora had returned with crucial data, and its discoveries were now being studied in detail. Alien technology, once incomprehensible, was gradually understood. Humans realized that survival in the galaxy required not only courage and strength, but intelligence, strategy, and unity. Dr. Ramirez addressed the Global Scientific Council. "We have proven our potential to the Empire," she said, "but that alone will not protect us. We must prepare, learn, and grow. We are small in the galaxy, but cleverness and ingenuity are our greatest weapons. That is humanity's strength." Small expeditions into nearby space resumed. Every mission was calculated, every action deliberate. Humans were learning, observing, and carefully mapping the Empire's influence without drawing attention. Each success built confidence. Each mistake taught caution. Humanity was no longer blindly exploring. They were navigating a universe that judged intelligence and courage. Meanwhile, Earth's people began to sense a change. Unexplained phenomena, energy pulses, distant lights, fleeting shadows in space, reminded everyone that they were not alone. Fear remained, but awe and determination grew stronger. Humanity had glimpsed the galaxy's vastness and survived. They had been tested and had shown potential. In secret, alliances with smaller civilizations were quietly explored. Some alien species, wary of the Empire but intrigued by humanity's ingenuity, began subtle communication. Humans realized they were not the only clever species under observation. Cooperation and learning became vital tools, not just for survival, but for gaining influence in the galaxy. On the Aurora, Dr. Ramirez and Leo looked at the stars. "We've learned a lot," Leo said, "but this is only the beginning. The Empire is still out there, and the next challenge could be closer than we think." Dr. Ramirez nodded. "Yes, but humanity has something unique: resilience, creativity, and courage. That is why we survived. That is why we will endure." As months passed, humanity's reach into space expanded carefully. Observatories, probes, and exploratory ships worked in harmony, always mindful of the Empire's watchful presence. Every discovery, every experiment, every step into the void was calculated to respect the delicate balance of observation and survival. The HFY moment became clear. Humans were small, fragile, and often underestimated, yet their ingenuity and determination allowed them to survive where others might have failed. Against unimaginable power, they had adapted, learned, and endured. Humanity's story had begun to inspire other species, quietly watching from the shadows. And then one night, a distant signal reached Earth, far beyond the solar system. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but unmistakably intelligent. Dr. Ramirez studied the patterns. "Someone or something is observing," she said. "Not the Empire. Something else, something curious about us." Humanity's presence is now known beyond even the Empire's fleet. The news electrified the scientific community. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were becoming participants in a vast, complex galaxy. Every decision, every action, and every innovation mattered. The stakes had grown, but so had humanity's potential. Dr. Ramirez stood outside again, looking at the night sky filled with stars. The galaxy was no longer distant and abstract. It was a reality, full of danger, intelligence, and opportunity. Humans had survived the first test, learned from it, and were now preparing for what lay ahead. The Empire's fleet might return, and the next challenge might be deadly. But Earth had changed. Humanity was clever, resourceful, and brave. They had faced the impossible and endured. The universe had taken notice. The first warning had passed. Humanity had survived, but the horizon stretched endlessly forward, filled with unknown dangers and incredible possibilities. The galaxy had opened its eyes to Earth, and Earth had opened its eyes to the stars. And somewhere, beyond the reach of human sight, the Empire continued its silent watch. The next encounter would come, but humanity would be ready. Small, fragile, yet brilliant, clever, and brave, humans were no longer just inhabitants of a single planet. They were participants in a galaxy that would test them, challenge them, and perhaps, one day, recognize their true potential. The new horizon had arrived. Earth had survived the first warning, and the journey had only begun. Humanity's story in the stars was just starting, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The battlefield above the barren planet had fallen silent. Alien ships drifted in space, broken and powerless, while the human fleet glowed like a river of stars, victorious but wary. The glowing fluid that had carried them to the battle pulsed faintly, a reminder of the strange, hidden power within them. Lieutenant Mara hovered in her ship, looking at the wreckage. The humans had won, but the victory was not without cost. Some ships were damaged, some soldiers injured, yet the morale was high. Humanity had survived, adapted, and thrived in the face of a superior enemy. Sergeant Cade floated beside her, his suit still glowing from the adrenaline of battle. "We did it," he said quietly. "We really did it." Mara nodded. "Yes, but this is only the beginning. Something tells me this won't be the last challenge we face." Back on the alien flagship, the commander's multiple eyes reflected fear, confusion, and respect. The humans had proven their strength, but the universe was vast, and he knew that reinforcements or other alien civilizations could arrive at any moment. He whispered to scientists, "Send word, warn them. Humans are not like any species we've encountered." Meanwhile, humans began to regroup, repairing ships and tending to the wounded. Yet even in the quiet moments, Mara noticed the subtle signs of a deeper connection forming among her squadron. The glowing fluid was not just a weapon. It was becoming a link between them, allowing humans to instinctively sense each other's movements and intentions. Their unity was evolving into something greater. Suddenly, Mara's scanners picked up an unusual signal from the far edge of the system, a faint energy signature, unlike anything humans had seen before. It was strong, intelligent, and approaching. Her pulse quickened. "This isn't over," she muttered. The glowing fluid seemed to respond, pulsing brighter, as if warning her of a new danger. Cade leaned over. "You think it's another fleet?" he asked. Mara shook her head. "I don't know, but whatever it is, it's massive, and it's coming fast." Across the galaxy, other alien civilizations had begun to detect the humans' unprecedented victory. Reports of glowing, adaptive soldiers defeating technologically superior fleets spread quickly. Whispers of humanity's evolution reached every corner of the cosmos. Some species prepared for war, others approached with caution. All underestimated humanity at their own risk. Back on the planet below, survivors from previous alien invasions watched the glowing humans return. Stories of courage, instinct, and the mysterious glowing fluid became legend among the colonies. Even those who had never seen humans in battle felt a spark of hope. Hope that their species could survive, adapt, and rise above any threat. Mara and her squadron prepared for the unknown. Repairs were finished, weapons checked, and tactics reviewed. Yet no training, no strategy could fully prepare them for what was coming. The glowing fluid, strange and powerful, was more than a tool. It was a sign. Humans had unlocked something that could change the course of the universe. The alien commander sent a final warning, to his own fleet. "Do not underestimate them ever," he said. "They are more than a species. They are a force of nature." As the camera pulled back, the void of space stretched endlessly, silent except for the faint hum of human ships. The approaching signal grew stronger, and somewhere in the distance, new ships, unknown, massive, and ominous, loomed. Mara gripped the controls, her suit glowing brighter with anticipation. "We survived once, we can survive again," she said. "But this time, we need to be ready for anything." And with that, the story left the viewers on edge, a clear cliffhanger, promising that humanity's journey was far from over. The glowing fluid, the courage, the instinct, and the unity of humans were only the beginning. Somewhere beyond the stars, a new threat awaited. And when it arrived, humans would be ready, stronger, smarter, and more unstoppable than ever. The screen faded to black, leaving one undeniable truth echoing in the audience's minds. Aliens panicked, humans thrived. The universe had only just begun to witness the true power of humanity.